been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
You want to do the intro? Again, you're not going to do the intro?
Nope.
All right. Jeez. Hey, YouTube, thanks for checking out RV Daydream. And we're in glorious Ohio. Look at the sunshine. And look at our apparel.
We're freezing.
Can you believe it's August?
It's like 64 degrees out.
Good thing she's got a nice camera. Might be able to get the color change of the leaves for the season. Because it sure feels like fall. It's just a cold snap that we've got. And then it's going to go back into the 80s. Starting our last day of our vacation and then the morning that we'll be leaving. It's supposed to be pretty warm. We wanted to touch on a few things about the campground, about our experience here, about our experience with our camper, and then our situation as far as where we're at. So first we'll start with the park. We're at East Harbor State Park. It's in Marblehead, Ohio, and it's kind of a peninsula that goes into Lake Erie. That's one of the reasons that the weather's so on and off. Get water spouts and stuff like that that comes through. There's 7 miles worth of trails. The one trail, which we may have highlighted in a previous video, runs along the lake, and there's a bunch of other ones, obviously. The place is always kept pretty clean. We don't have any trash or cigarette butts hanging out anywhere. The shower houses are not numerous. There's usually one shower house in the center of a lot of camping sites, and there's like 3 different loops. There's only about 25 full hookup sites in this campground, but there's almost 300 electric sites and well over 150, probably closer to 250 primitive sites. The campground is over 1,800 acres for the whole park, but there is a lot of camping here, and there's a lot of room, but they kind of pack us in a little bit tight. Tighter than some of the places, but bigger than others. We've got a pull-through site. It's no more or no less to get a pull-through site. We did all electric because there was no full hookup available, but the shower house is, you know, I don't have the kind of arm that I used to, but I could definitely throw a baseball on the fly and put it in the window of the shower house. It's just out of camera view there. And as far as the, thank you. As far as the dump station, it's awesome because it is right behind us. Again, I could hit it. It's less than 50 yards. And the fresh water to fill the tanks, that's less than 50 yards. Probably a good idea to pick up one of those carts that you see people taking and dragging through the flea markets. It's one of those wire basket carts. It's really handy to have for 2 things. One is hauling the water from the water site over to the camper. The other is laundry, to be able to go to the laundry and take care of it and have a basket to put everything in to wheel it back to the camper. We see a lot of people doing their laundry and they're carrying it in. That one guy was carrying it in a trash bag.
Yeah, it's less than 50 feet away also.
Yeah, it's at the shower house.
There's a couple washers and 3 dryers. And it's pretty inexpensive to wash and dry.
Which we could have gone without doing, but the clothes we have.
Too many wet clothes.
Yeah, we had a lot of wet clothes, and we could have put them in the back of the truck. I think we're gonna have to do something about a hamper or something in there. We'd like to make it to where the clothes have their own dirty area, and maybe a hamper would keep it a little bit cleaner smelling in there, because we did smell a little dampness whenever our wet towels and stuff were in there. As far as the stores, we decided not to buy our groceries until we got to where we're going. I guess we're kind of training ourselves to, if we were full-timers, we wouldn't be hauling around necessarily a lot of food. We would wait until we got to where we were going to stay and then pick up some food and prepare it. We made an addition to our camper, which Heidi did. We had a problem, but overall the outcome was good. She bought a pretty big toaster oven, which we actually got to cook.
One thing, and then
What
yours.
was it? Did you
I
cook?
cooked my bagels.
Yeah. She cooked her bagels for breakfast the very first day, and I was all excited because we went to the store and we bought a bunch of stuff for the toaster oven. And one of the things I got was those toaster scramblers. I like those with the eggs and the cheese and everything in it. So she cooked her bagels and came out here and sat down and started eating. And then I was doing everything under the sun and I couldn't get it to heat up. So we brought it out here, we tore it all apart, and I found that something had just failed in it, in one of the mechanisms for the timer, the on-off switch. I could not get it to fix itself. So we ran to Walmart. Again, it's only about 3 miles away, and picked up a new toaster oven, and that was a good decision. That's a really good decision.
It cuts down time. And
Yeah.
You can, especially for lunch.
Yeah, it's almost
Something quick,
to the point
breakfast.
where we may not even need an oven inside. I could see that becoming like countertop, which we bought that butcher block top that goes over the burners. So we just set the toaster oven on top of that. I think it would fit inside the oven whenever we transport.
It might.
Yeah, it should. The pizza racks and stuff are in there, but anyways, good decision. So if you guys are on the fence about a toaster oven, not a pro, go do it, pick it up. Still, just an option, and I'm glad that we did it.
Well, that goes to the firewood.
Yeah,
mean, if-
yeah. Years ago, here's something that's interesting. When we were camping in a tent, I think.
It was only for like 4 days.
Yeah, 4 days. We camped in a tent, and we didn't know any better at the time. We bought firewood at the campground, and we did all of our cooking over the fire, which seems ideal. You got a fire ring, they give it to you. We have all kinds of cooking paraphernalia that goes over the campfire. It's a campfire grate or something like that. I can't remember what it's called now. But anyways, we went through over 4 days, $100 in firewood, buying it from the camp store. So the next time that we knew that we were going to be on vacation for a period of time and we were going to do a lot of our cooking over the fire, she got on Craigslist
Put an ad
for
on
the
Craigslist.
area and put an ad in Craigslist and said, we're going to be camping in the area of Salt Fork State Park, and we want somebody who's local that is willing to deliver a load of firewood to the state park. And we got somebody to answer, and they came out with a dump truck full of firewood for how much?
It's like $70.
And it was for the whole week, and we had a pile of firewood, and you could just see all the campers around us, jaws dropping, thinking, what a great idea.
It was a great idea, and we were able to have a fire every day.
We gave away wood at the end. It was
No pickup truck full.
it was a heaping pickup truck full. He had a dump bed, and he dumped it all out, and we stacked it, and it was good wood. So anyways, the firewood here, it's $5 a bundle, and it's about so big, right?
5 pieces.
Yeah, it's about 5 pieces, about $1 a piece of wood. I mean, can you imagine just burning $5 to cook your meal that cost
Probably
$3?
be $10.
Yeah, I don't know. The Walmart, like we said, it's about 3 miles away. There are shops that are in a plaza. There's a Bassett, what is that?
Market.
Market, yeah. And there's a hardware store. There's all kinds of stuff up here. There's an RV place right outside the door of the entrance to this place. I mean, you basically go out on the main drag and make a right and then make a left into the RV store. But yeah, the Bassett's place, this whole area, it's got its own microbreweries and breweries and wineries, lots of wineries. So they have all these wine tasting things going on. They're all over the place. And when you go into these stores, they're just packed full of local alcohol makers. I might try to put some clips in here of the one grocery store we were at. It seemed like that every aisle we went down, there was more alcohol to be found. And then in the corner of the store near the back was a state liquor agency, which in Ohio you got to buy your hard liquor at a state liquor store. Did that change at any point? No, that's still the same. So they had everything that you could want there. I think it was our second day. We went to Put-in-Bay, and I'm glad that she talked me into it, because I was trying to do it maybe a couple days later because the weather looked to be the same every day. We went on a decent day. We didn't even wear long. I didn't wear long pants.
No, we wore shorts.
Yeah, we wore shorts. I did have a pullover, but Put-in-Bay, that's a whole subject that I'll try to narrow down and talk about really fast here. It's kind of an adult entertainment place. Now, you can buy family fun packs, and they do have things for kids, like the cave tours. They have the butterfly house. They have putt-putt golf. They have the mining, that gemstone mining thing. Amazing. It's a giant maze. And then there's some history stuff that's there. They have the Peace Tower. It's during the War of 1812. I mean, it's just interesting how Lake Erie was actually part of a war, and that we have this undefended border between Canada because of peace that we don't have to worry about. It's just a good story. And there's a really nice monument that's up there. It's actually built where there are soldiers buried. It's kind of a monument. It's basically their tombstone that you go visit, that is got an elevator in it and takes you to the top. Again, I would have shown some of that on previous videos so you can see what we did there. As far as going to Put-in-Bay, it is an island. Put-in-Bay is on South Bass Island. It's probably the most populated, most visited island out of like 4 or 5 islands you can go to. Way to get out there is by Miller's Ferry. Now, they have these Jet Express ones. If you want it just for the ride and experience, it's more expensive. But coming from East Harbor, Miller's Ferry is the closest. Let me break down the cost real quick here. If you want to just take your car and drive over, it costs $15 each way for your car. So it's going to cost you $30 round trip. 15 to get to the island. You can drive around all day, and then you have to be back to the ferry by 6 o'clock in line for you to catch the ferry back, which is another $15. That ferry during the summer hours, they run every half an hour. There's like 3 ferries, so there's always a ferry coming in or going out. You're not waiting very long. Each person that is in that car, or each person that walks onto the ferry, they cost $7 per person each way.
Adults.
That's for adults, right? Kids were a little bit less, but you're talking basically $14 for her to do a round trip, $14 for me to do a round trip. Now, it would have cost another $30 for the truck to do a round trip. We didn't take the truck, we took the mopeds. Now,
it's probably a good idea to take either a bicycle or a moped, for the simple fact there's really not places for cars to park downtown.
Well, your other choice is the golf carts.
Right.
Yeah, or you could rent bicycles when you get there.
Right.
As soon as you get off the ferry, they have a bus. It's like $2.50 or $3 per person to town, or you can walk to rent a golf cart. Or there's a shuttle that will actually take you to a place to rent a golf cart. Golf carts are $24 for 2 hours. Or if you want to rent it all day, it's $70. We did that one time. We didn't rent it all day, but we rented it for about 3 hours. Again, we had the moped, so there was no sense in that. If you're going to just hoof it, get across, jump on one of the cabs, and have them take you to town, and you can pretty much see almost everything in town. Walking. Yeah, in walking distance. And honestly, if you wanted to, the cave and all that stuff, you could walk to that too. It's a little bit of a walk, but it's not crazy. There's a lot of stuff to do on that island, but again, it's more adult, especially when you get in town. If they have all kinds of festivals and events and stuff going on. If you get in town, it's just nothing but bars and bands and gift shops and a lot of drunk people floating around. The first time we went to Put-in-Bay, we brought the kids when they were little, and they thought it was hilarious that it was, 2 o'clock in the afternoon and these people were stumbling on the sidewalks. It's not out of control up here. It's I never really hear about too many incidents. Put-in Bay's pretty decent as far as that goes. A lot of boats. If you're a boat person, again, obviously Lake Erie, it's just tons of boats. Marinas everywhere. You're really covered. Overall, Put-in Bay is something that you need to experience. We think it's great. I mean, if we come up here next year, I guarantee we'd take a day and go to Put-in Bay again. It's just nice to go do. We've been on the Peace Tower tour a couple times. We went on the winery tours, not this last time, but the time before. Just a lot to do. Overall, it's a really nice place to go. And now, if you want to, you can try to camp at the state park at Put-in Bay. We did that. We did it with a tent, so we didn't have to pay for our pop-up and our truck to go over. Instead, we just paid for the truck, obviously. But I don't know if we would. That campground don't have a lot of electric sites. There are no full hookups, and there's like only a couple electric.
It's hard to get a site there.
Right, right. So now we got to talk about our camping situation. Our holding tanks, we learned our limits. We figured out what we had to do to make our tanks work. And our freshwater tank needs filled after 2 days.
We could probably go 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days, yeah. And this is us being kind of frugal, but not to where it's an inconvenience. You know, we know how to conserve water as far as not running the water the whole time we're brushing our teeth. And when we wash our hands, you know, run at a bare minimum to wash our hands. We don't run a lot of water. And as far as the toilet goes inside, we used it like we would at home. Nothing crazy there. So we've got the system set up with the freshwater tank to fill, which that wasn't a big deal. The TVs inside, we'd like to have maybe another TV. Well, actually, the TV that we have could be a little bigger, number one. It's just an old little 13-inch TV with a converter on it. It does a good job, but it's heavy and it's bulky, and we could get rid of that shelf. I'd like to do that. So we need to get a couple LCD flat screens that are 12-volt power. And the reason we use two is because we can watch different things, but the main reason is we don't want to necessarily be sitting on the bed watching TV, because for her, it usually just puts her to sleep.
Puts me right to sleep.
Yeah, so it'd probably be a good idea for us not to have that. Going to the mopeds, I just talked about how nice it was and everything that we got to do with them. This campground and that situation with Put-in Bay is the exception by far. It is not the rule. Most of the time we have a harder time finding campgrounds that are moped friendly to where you can actually go and drive them somewhere, except inside the campground. Now, when you're in the campground, they're exceptional. When we have to go to the office, when we have to go, if we want to get firewood, which we don't do that anymore, but when we go and get ice, anything, we can take the mopeds, and it's quick, it's easy, but we're running into a problem. And that is that we are low on fuel. Even though these mopeds get like 100 miles to the gallon, we were running them pretty good over at Put-in Bay and of course around the campground here. So we don't have a lot of fuel, and I am not hauling around a gallon jug just to make sure that we always have fuel on hand. It's just not sensible. I'd hate to get rid of them, but we probably will go into maybe an electric bike, because I'm not one for pedaling around. I mean, I don't mind doing it a little bit, and I know it's good exercise. It's just there's situations where I don't want to dork around and pedal my butt off like if we were at Put-in Bay. I wouldn't want to pedal that first stretch of the road. That's a pretty long road.
That's a couple miles.
Yeah, it's like 2 miles to get into the city.
It's uphill.
Yeah, and it is a little bit uphill, even though the island's relatively flat. It is a little bit uphill, so I just don't think that we'd want to do that. An electric bike would be good for both of us. They're easy to load. but they're not as easy as a bicycle. They're easy to secure, but they're not as easy as a bicycle. They're easy to cover up whenever it's need protection from the rain, but not as easy as a bicycle. It's an in-between. You guys with bikes know how it is. It's same. There's just a lot of places that aren't bike friendly. Well, that's the way it is with mopeds. They're actually worse. We're not allowed to run the bike lane. At least you guys are. The bike lane at least gets you off the road a little bit whenever traffic's doing 40 miles an hour. So the mopeds may need to go. Now for the subject that we've been talking about almost every single video, and we're going to continue to talk about it because it's still a major issue. That truck of mine just isn't going to do it. It is a good running, powerful truck. It's just too small. It did a good job on the way up for the most part. However, the engine worked pretty hard, and it got to where I was only averaging, I think I figured it out, and I was maybe 9 miles to the gallon at the best. Maybe closer to high 7s or 8 even. And that just defeats the whole purpose of having that smaller engine and a smaller camper, because if I had a big block truck, it would get about 8 miles to the gallon, and it would pull, and I wouldn't even know the trailer was behind us. So the truck's an issue. We're looking. Heidi's going to go to Ford on Monday, and she's going to buy me a new Ford. No, I'm kidding. That was the old joke from Lock 30. We're not going to get a new truck, but maybe something better than what we got for sure. The camper. We love the camper. It's doing a good job for us. We have enough room in there. It's not too cluttered. We've got almost everything in there that we need, and we still have room for more stuff if we want to. We brought, at least I did, I brought twice as many clothes as I did last time, and we have plenty of space still. Heidi brought her normal amount of clothes. We brought a decent amount of toiletries, and more than ever, we brought more washcloths and towels than ever before. We've got plenty in there. I mean, we have enough clothes and enough linens that we could go 2 weeks without doing laundry.
Yeah.
So that's awesome for us. I mean, that's great. The situation with the computer and the camera equipment and stuff like that, it's a little cluttered because we haven't found a way to utilize this front corner, but it's getting better. Everything's getting better. With that said, if I got a bigger truck, eventually we would move into a slightly bigger camper. And the only reason to do that is for the bathroom. We just need a little bit bigger bathroom, or make it to where the bathroom's opposite of the shower, so they're separate from each other, which Heidi would like. Maybe another 6 foot. That would give us 30. I don't think we could probably even do 28. Just enough, like I said, to make that bathroom a little bigger. I know that you can probably see in this camera over here, the motorhome over here. That's brand new. It's a 2015. It's a Ford chassis. It's 38 feet. It's got a V10 in it. And we went and did a tour in it. The entire wall on the driver's side is a slide out. It doesn't slide out very far, but it's a slide out. It's a really nice camper inside. It's not crazy overdone like you see some of these Monacos and that Prevost or whatever those are called, the really big motorhomes. It's not crazy like those. It's not a diesel, it's not a pusher. The engine's in the front, so they kept the cost down, but it's a very nice very good taste inside. The colors are very comforting. It's not overkill. There's nothing crazy inside. You're not going to walk in and have Italian marble floors or anything like that.
Very nice.
It's just a nice overall. It would be, if we were shopping for a motorhome, that one might be perfect for us. The only thing that I didn't care for, which they pointed out, is they have 5 TVs, and they don't think that they would watch but just 2 of them. There's a TV on the outside. They don't really care for that too much. There's a kitchen galley on the outside, which they don't necessarily going to use that too much. But it's kind of cool. And we talked about motorhomes at that point, and then we got into the situation where we discussed before. I don't know about towing a car around, just having that vehicle behind us, dealing with it. It's immediately the first thing that came to mind when they said they have a vehicle that they tow. The first question I had for him, I said, how far do you go before you have to start it up and run it? And he said 8 hours. I don't like that. I have a problem with that. I don't know why. It's just me personally. We would definitely want to stay into a bumper pull camper because we like the truck and having the back end. We talked about vans, maybe having a van and towing with it. Heidi brought up the point of what's the difference between a van and a truck. I kind of like the front end, having a front end of a truck, tell you the truth. Not being over top of the wheels. It's a better ride. But you can get vans cheaper than you can trucks. We may want to look into a four-wheel drive because of our last camping trip.
This will be much more interesting going out.
We went down some roads that were pretty questionable. The truck is definitely on our mind as far as trying to get a new one. We have all winter long for Heidi to hit the lottery, even though we'd never play. So our goal is definitely to get into another truck. So you're going to see a video one day on here of us having a new truck or a different truck. When that's going to happen, I'm not sure. As far as our full time, man, I'm so depressed thinking about winter, and you see the way we're dressed, and this just puts me right in the frame of mind of this is the way we have to dress most of the time. Starting in October. Starting in October, this will be my outfit until April, or early May. I mean, I'll have to wear some sort of a jacket and long pants, and not even these nice, comfortable, loose-fitting sandal shoes. I'll have to have shoes, actual shoes on, and that's just too long to be cold. I can't stand it. So Heidi's going to transfer to Florida. She's going to transfer her job to Florida and continue to work down there.
I know you're not putting that on there.
What's your summary about the camping trip?
I think the camping trip overall was nice and relaxing to me, and I got a new camera, so I'm always wanting to go take pictures and stuff, and I have to drag him along because he's not one to walk anywhere. But I'm getting him out and about. He's walked more this trip than any other trip.
I don't know why that is. I never really thought about it till you said that. I just don't walk anywhere anymore. I haven't walked anywhere since I got my driver's license.
Well, it's good for you.
Yeah, it is good for us.
Until you drag us off the track, off course.
Yeah.
We probably get poison ivy.
Yeah, we chased down, well, it all started with a rabbit. And then the rabbit run into this little briar area, and we both had our cameras, so we wanted to get footage of it. And then as we walked a little further, she kind of said, oh, there was a deer. And it was startled, and it ran into the woods, this wooded area. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a grown-over, thatchy area that has little paths through it that animals obviously have made. It's not humans making the paths. So we decided to go in and look a little bit further, and we saw a big doe that had jumped into the bush. So we got our cameras out, and it was the doe with her 3 babies, and the babies were only about so tall, and they were just kind of standing there looking at us, and they were in this thatchy area. So we kind of walked into it, and then once we got in so far, we decided to try to walk through and make a shortcut to go out to the bird trail. And that took us a little while to get there. There was
through poison ivy.
Yeah, through poison ivy.
Through jaggers and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty
But we
rough.
made it.
We did
It was
make
pretty
it.
cool.
Yep. We didn't have to call for help or nothing. It's kind of funny how many people here that have electric hookups only, like us, they really use that shower house. I can see where we would do that in the future. I don't care for the shower house. I don't like the older style shower houses because there's not really a place for you to put your clothes while you shower without them getting wet.
Exactly.
It's hard to keep them dry.
West Branch has been the best.
Yeah, West Branch, there's a lot of campgrounds that are set up like West Branch that you can go in as like a couple in our case. That way you're only carrying one bag with the toiletries in it and maybe one bag with all the clothes in it. And when you walk into the room, it's a private shower. You lock the door. There's an area to hang your stuff up. Then there's a seat. And then there's a curtain. And then the shower area. Mm-hmm. So one person can go in and take their shower, do whatever they need, and then they can step out, start drying off, getting dressed. In the meantime, the other person can step in the shower, take their shower, using the same toiletries that were left out from the first person, and
just a lot quicker.
It's just quicker. Everything's nice about everything's great about it.
The floors were sloped a little bit. They had stuff on the floors for like anti-skid in the showers. It was just overall nice.
This one here is like stalls, and it's
shower curtain.
Yeah, it's just
real small.
They're not very big, and it's just old. It's just older. I mean, they've been like that for quite a few years. They're clean. They're very clean.
They're very clean,
and they all work. They got great hot water supply. Nothing crazy like that. It's a different older style, and I don't like that. So all my showers have been in the camper. If you guys haven't had the experience like we are right now with a travel trailer, let me tell you, we have a 48-gallon freshwater tank, and we have a 40-gallon gray tank, and we have a 40-gallon black tank. The 40-gallon black tank, using a bathroom like you normally would between the two of us, can go over 5 days easily, for sure. It could probably go closer to 7 or 8. At least it does for us. As far as the gray water tank needs emptied about...
You could probably do 4 days.
4 days, yeah. 4 days. So
that's just with two of us,
right.
too.
But you got to figure what we just said is in 4 days, you'll have 40 gallons worth of gray water. And in 7 days, you'll have 40 gallons of black water. Well, that means that you've used 80 gallons, so that means your freshwater tank's got to be filled at least once completely. I like it. That's probably the perfect size. I think that 50-gallon or 48-gallon freshwater and 2 40-gallon holding for the gray and the black, 40-gallon each, is perfect. We really lucked out with a lot of stuff that this camper has. The weather, unfortunately, the way it is. I mean, we literally had the air conditioner running the first 2 days we were here, and then last night we were running the furnace. I mean, not all night or nothing. We just got it warm in there, and that took care of it for the entire night. We do have a little electric heater we could have plugged in and done that, but I wanted to run that furnace just to get it to exercise. It doesn't get the use that it should. The camper did a good job. I'm really happy with it overall. The thing that I come up with, and I've told her a couple times, whoever buys our truck, they're going to get one hell of a truck. I mean, it's rusty and it's old, but man, I've got so much done to it that somebody who just needs a pickup truck is really going to get a deal. And if they pulled something small like our pop-up, if we had a pop-up, I wouldn't be selling that truck because it did a good job going to southern Ohio through the hills. And we were loaded. We had a lot of weight in the truck. We had a lot of stuff in the back of it. It did a good job. The camper itself, it does a really good job. If we ever sell either one of them, somebody's going to get a really good deal on either one. I mean, they're going to get stuff that's really taken care of. It could use a good cleaning and waxing. I don't like that the stripes on the door are peeling away. There's a couple of dings and bruises. We have to get a new awning canvas for the awning. It's not bad, but it's needing replaced. It's just wore. It's old. It's still, the water runs off. It does everything that it's supposed to, but
new carpet.
Oh yeah, it needs new carpet inside too.
I mean, it's not It's just old.
It's
and
clean,
it's
but it's
stained up.
stained.
It's pink from '92, so
Yeah.
it needs replaced.
Oh, and the refrigerator. Yeah, I mean, if somebody's doing electric only, I mean, you don't need to worry about it. The refrigerator, it just has a hard time keeping its temperature. It wants to. It's done okay this time though. It hasn't froze stuff in the refrigerator.
Right.
Well, it's just
doing
a
okay
smaller.
for us.
Yeah, it's doing okay. If we had a generator, I don't think I'd worry about having the correct, propane 120 volt type thing. But anyways, that's kind of our update on where we're at. We're thinking that our time that it's going to take for us to go full time is 8 years. That's going to be interesting. Do we have a definite plan on how it's going to happen in 8 years?
No.
We're just thinking that at that point our kids are going to be further along in their lives to where we can get a good sense of what they're wanting to do and how they can incorporate us in their lives, maybe our home in their lives. It's just hard telling. But anyways, things are unfolding, and we just see that, instead of 9 years later, we're thinking it's like 8 years from now that we should be on the road. And something may change. Something may happen a lot sooner. I'll tell you, last winter about put me over the edge to where, honestly, if I had a truck that would tow this camper, I might have been in Florida working. And she'd been in Ohio working. And we would have been...
That's what he thinks.
I would have been in Florida working. She would have been in Ohio working. I always say that, but I won't go anywhere without her. We did that for a period of time. It's like 6 months. I think it lasted 6 months. I was in Florida working for 6 months, and she was in Ohio. And the funny part is I was in Florida during the summer, and I came back to Ohio for the winter. Oh, what a joke. That was horrible. So I'm getting kind of in a depressed mood about the winter. That's my problem. I just hate it. I hate it. There's nothing I like about it at all. At all. The one thing I love about this year, at this time of year though, what is it?
I don't know.
There is no back to school.
Oh.
We don't have no back to school shopping. We don't have to worry about any of that crap. None of it. It seems weird. If you guys aren't as old as us and you have kids that are still in school, I don't know how to describe it. It's just a strange feeling that after all these years, we don't have to do school supply shopping and school clothes shopping for the first time in many, many years. So it's strange. It just seems strange to us. What else do you want to talk about?
Nothing. We
What?
talked about everything.
Okay, we talked about everything. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this update on our camping trip and where we're at. And we hope to see you out there, right?
Yep.
Talk to
Bye.
you guys later. Bye.